Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I make keto fathead bagels, English muffins, and sandwich bread, all from one dough. This recipe comes from WholesomeYumBlog.com's bagel recipe. I will link that down below. I basically make the recipe just as it's called for, and then I split the dough into 3 different ways, and from there I make the bagels, English muffins, and sandwich bread. The cool thing about this recipe is it's so versatile. You can add in whatever kind of ingredients or toppings or flavors that you like. You can make different kinds every time you make it. It's just super customizable, and it's very easy and quick to throw together, and it tastes fantastic. This makes the best sandwich bread for like paninis or grilled cheeses or anything like that by far that I have found so far since doing keto. So let's go over the ingredients and we'll get started. So to make the base for this recipe, you are going to need 2.5 cups of shredded mozzarella and 2 ounces of softened and cubed cream cheese, 1.5 cups of almond flour, about 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a tablespoon of baking powder, and I like to add garlic powder and onion powder to the almond flour mixture. And then you are going to need 2 eggs, which I have at room temperature. And then you're gonna need whatever toppings or fillings that you like for your bagels and sandwich bread and stuff. I like to put the everything but the bagel seasoning from Trader Joe's on my bagels. I like to add in some chopped pickled jalapenos to the panini bread, and then I like to leave the English muffins just plain as is because I like to use them for like eggs Benedict or breakfast sandwiches or anything like that, and I think that they're good just the way they are with the garlic powder and the onion powder. So the first thing you're going to want to do is preheat your oven to 400 degrees and then combine the almond flour with the baking powder and the seasonings. The next thing you're going to want to do is microwave the cheeses together for 1 minute, give it a really good mix, and then microwave it for another minute. Next, you're going to add in your almond flour mixture and mix it well. You don't want any pockets of almond flour or cheese. You want it to be thoroughly mixed. Once you have the almond flour mixture completely mixed in with the cheeses, I let it sit for just a couple minutes because I think it's just too hot to add in the eggs. But once it's cooled down a little bit, you can add in the 2 eggs, and then I like to just go in with my hands and give it a really good mix. I find it works so much easier than using a spoon or a fork or anything like that. Now that the eggs are completely mixed in, I'm going to take 1/3 of this dough and I will make 2 English muffins out of it. To form the English muffins, I just take a ball of dough in my hand and I kind of form it into a disc like this, and I make it as even as I can. So this is about the size and thickness that you want for the English muffins. And then I just lay them down on a parchment paper lined baking sheet. So I have another 1/3 of the dough here for the bagels, and I'm going to add in some of that everything but the bagel seasoning from Trader Joe's. And then I'm gonna mix that in with my hands. To form the bagels, I just take a ball of dough and then I roll it into a log, and then I loop it back around and connect it. And then I like to kind of pinch the ends together, and it sort of just seals the bagel like that. Then I like to take some more of the seasoning and just sprinkle it on top of the bagels and kind of pat it in so that they stick. Now I'm going to add my chopped jalapenos to the last third of the dough. To form this sandwich bread, I just take a ball of dough and I sort of shape it into an oval or, you know, kind of just a rectangle patty type of thing. And you don't want to go too thin with these, especially if you're making sandwiches, because ultimately you want to slice them in half, like horizontally. So if it's too thin, then it can kind of fall apart. So that's about how thick that I like to make them. Now I'm going to bake these at 400 degrees for 15 minutes, and I like to flip the sandwich bread and the English muffins over halfway through. That way they get browned on both sides. So this is what they look like fresh out of the oven. I actually ended up leaving these in there for 20 minutes instead of 15. But what I like to do with the English muffins is while they're still hot from the oven, I will spread a little bit of butter on them and then sprinkle just a tiny bit of cornmeal. I know cornmeal has some carbs, so I really don't use very much. And it's not necessary, but it really makes it look like an English muffin. So if you're going for, you know, presentation or anything like that, the cornmeal really makes it look like a traditional English muffin. So that is what the English muffins look like after I sprinkled some cornmeal on them. There's the everything bagels and the jalapeno bread. You can see it's a really good thickness for cutting in half and making sandwiches. And what I like to do usually is if I'm making a breakfast sandwich with the English muffin or the bagels, I will cut them in half horizontally and then I will stick them cut side up under the broiler and kind of toast them up on the inside. And it's so good. I actually use these English muffins in an Eggs Benedict recipe in one of my What I Eat in a Day videos. So if you're interested in that, I will link it down below. But this is how I make my fathead dough 3 different ways. I hope you give this recipe a try. It's really an awesome way to find a good alternative for breakfast sandwiches or sandwich bread for paninis or anything like that. It has such a good texture and it has such good flavor too. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye everyone.